All right, to contextualize this, I need to give you all a little life update. A couple of weeks ago, I became a Swedish citizen and I got my first Swedish passport. Now, if you come from a Western country, from Europe, the UK, the US, that might not sound like a big deal, but I was born a freaking Turkish citizen. So the fact that I now have citizenship and a passport from a country in the European Union is kind of a big deal. By the way, if this is your first time on this channel/podcast, my name is Mehmet and this is Design Disciplin, an institution for design knowledge. Anyway, previously my options for travel and residence were limited, to say the least, but now I'm in a position to travel basically wherever I want without having to ask for and apply for and wait for a visa. So I'm going to do what any sane person would do in this situation. I'm going to pack my bags and go on a bunch of trips. Now, there's a purpose around why I'm doing this, moving around, going to a bunch of different places. I actually view this as kind of an investment, and that's actually what I want to talk to you about today. But make no mistake, even though we are stepping away now a little bit from our usual format, which is kind of the deep dive into ideas and tactics and design and technology, we're not really doing that today, but still, what I'm about to share with you is one of the biggest unlocks that have helped me as a designer. I want to talk to you about certain concepts and ideas that give me tremendous inspiration, tremendous clarity, motivation, confidence as I go about my work every day as a designer, as a creator, as an entrepreneur. First of all, you have to kind of understand that in the context of design discipline, being out there traveling is kind of a limitation. I usually work on these releases, the videos, the articles in my home office. I have my camera, my microphone, everything set up. I have a process dialed in, so making videos, publishing articles while I'm away from all of this is kind of a challenge. But in every challenge, there is an opportunity. By definition, a challenge is something that you have not done before. And if you meet that challenge, you prevail in the face of that challenge, you are unwavering despite the challenge, that is how you grow. That is how you acquire skill. And that's actually also how you get invention and creativity. So I'd like to use this time of traveling around and being away from home as an opportunity instead of a limitation. I'd like to extract growth out of this challenge. To do this, I'm changing up the format of these videos a little bit different from our usual style, which is a bit more dry. It's a bit more lecture-like. Of course, this being design discipline, I'd like to talk about design, technology, creativity, but this week, I'd like to approach this whole thing from a different angle. Normally on design discipline, we talk about a more systematic side of design. We talk about strategies and tactics for design work. We talk about methods, business models, design tools, but undeniably design involves creativity, and the creative process is mystical. What does that even mean? It means that the creative process cannot be fully and completely understood, explained, reproduced through technical and scientific means. I like to say that design is the intersection of art and engineering, but these days, it just feels like we're a bit too much about the engineering. We're always looking for laws, process, algorithms to guide our hand as designers. There is such a thing as being too systematic, being too dependent on data and fact. And as digital designers, UX designers, as this modern breed of designers working with technology, we are guilty of it. Because even for the most technical of designers, it's hard to understate the value of engaging with art, culture, philosophy, spirituality, and I would go as far as to say that this engagement between our work and our culture is where great design comes from. Not good, not decent, great design. This is what I see when I look at the work of great designers, the designers that I admire the most. It's this expression of their culture. I'm a huge fan of Virgil Abloh, who was an icon of culture. His identity as a young black man from Illinois, his training as an engineer and as an architect in Chicago, history of involvement in music, art, fashion, these are the things that made him great because he managed to materialize these experiences, his unique, authentic, personal experiences in his actual designs, in his work. I'm a fan of Swiss design and modernism represented by designers like Josef Müller-Brockmann, Massimo Vignelli, and even though the Swiss typographic style is primarily known as an international style, it's aiming to perhaps transcend culture, transcend language and individualism. The story of Swiss design is actually deeply rooted in the culture and life stories of the people that created it. These were people who experienced the Second World War in the middle of Europe. They experienced great violence, chaos, fascism. They lived in a country with 4 official state languages. Some of them migrated away from the country that they were born in. So even though the style of Swiss design is supposed to be very serious and corporate and technical, it was developed from a place of intense experiences and a very unique culture. And in fact, all of the cold technical execution, the rules, the grid systems, all of that is an expression of that culture. And that's what makes it powerful. Johnny Ive, to give a final example, who created the identity, the design language of Apple, he was expressing the culture that gave birth to Apple in his designs. It was literally written on the objects themselves, designed in California. So here's the point in all of this. I think the greatest inspiration that you can tap into as a designer, as a creative, the path to being a great designer is the inspiration that comes from your own authentic self. It's your own experiences from your youth, from your culture, from the place you were born, from the community that you belong to. But it's really challenging in the course of our normal lives to realize, to materialize this inspiration because we are too close to it. You get up in the morning, you go about your day, you don't realize how unique you are. To you, it's exactly the same day as the day before, and tomorrow it's going to be exactly the same as this one. You go to work, you hang out with your friends, you participate in your community. To you, it's just another day. It's the same people, the same music, the same beer. But you don't realize in the context of a global market, a worldwide audience that you have access to as a designer today, how unique your experiences are, how it's only you who possesses that particular combination of tastes and resources that you take for granted. You never see the potential of your own culture, and travel is in fact a great way to discover this, to discover yourself, your authentic voice as a creative and as a whole person. Because through travel, by participating directly, you experience the whole range of human culture, and by experiencing the whole range, you become awakened to the possibilities and opportunities of sharing the little slice of it that is you. So traveling to different countries, different communities, it broadens your perception. It gives you the awareness of how diverse it is out there. But we don't only go broad when we travel, we also go deep, because when you're away from home, it sharpens your senses. You not only connect to a broader range, a more diverse range of experiences, but you actually have a deeper connection to those things around you. You're noticing things, paying attention, fully engaging with your surroundings, and this actually is a biological response. It's a matter of survival. You're away from home, you're away from safety, anything can happen. So this is the point that I want to make. If you want to be a great designer, you need inspiration. Not only craft, technique, theory, skill, those are necessary, but those are not good enough. You need something mystical. You need a spiritual experience almost. And in fact, all of this mystical inspiration and spiritual connection that you need is sitting inside of you right now. It's the culmination of your life experiences. It's the community that you're part of. It's the culture that you represent. To unlock this inspiration, all you need to do is to get out of your habits once in a while. Do something that you don't normally do. Do something unusual. Do something new. If you can travel to a different country. You can see for yourself, experience for yourself that there are so many different ways of being and living. The values, the habits, the food, the architecture, everything around you will change. As a result of that, you will realize the uniqueness inside of you and in your culture. And maybe you cannot afford to travel like this right now, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, I understand it very well. I did not have the freedom to travel in the same way that I now can for like literally my entire life before this. But I still like to leave you with this insight, this realization that massive inspiration, incredible creative achievements are waiting inside of you to be activated. And the way to activate them is actually to get away from them once in a while. Get out of your neighborhood, get out of your routines, and when you do, you will see how original you are and how unique you are. And that realization, that awakening to the fact that you have something unique, something worth sharing, is where great design comes from.